So during these past 2 weeks, we've had testimonies from certain individuals who have gone through the process of RCIA. And each of them, for the past 2 weeks, had very unique, beautiful stories about their own spiritual journey. And today, I'm happy to invite Christine Moradian up here today to share her experience through RCIA and her own faith-filled journey. So I welcome Christine to please come on up. Thank you, Christine.
Late have I loved you, O beauty, ancient and so new. Late have I loved you, and behold, you were always with me. I borrow the words of St. Augustine from his Confessions. Augustine is referring, of course, to his conversion, his submission to God later in life. I borrow his words not in reference to my conversion. I've known our Savior since I was a child. I borrow them to express my coming later in life to the Catholic Church. O beauty, ancient and so new. I turned 60 a few years ago, and along with a friend, we recalled how we, in the past years, had raised our children, tended our homes, planted our gardens, shouldered our many burdens. And we asked ourselves, now, how do we do this next part of our lives? And how do we do it well? My primary conviction was to draw even nearer to God in the coming years. But how to do that? I'd spent a life loving God, serving Him, studying His Word. Sometimes we notice that God has already been at work, preparing for our needs, long before we realize we have them. God was drawing me from my Protestant upbringing, an upbringing that taught me to know and seek God, drawing me to the church. The story's a long one, but I just want to share two things that drew me to the church that occurred right here in this parish. First, several years ago, a woman I'd come to know invited me to Easter Vigil. She warned me before we came, Easter Vigil is very long. You can leave whenever you like. About halfway through, she leaned over and said, Christine, is it too long? Do you want to go now? I'm not sure what I said, but what I thought was, no. No, I do not want to go. In fact, I feel like I was meant to be here all my life. She invited me to Easter Vigil again the next year. Her name is Mary. As a result, I began to attend Mass each Sunday. I would sit in the back, a bit awkward, not knowing what to do, but I stayed. I was drawing nearer to God here. And I knew I wanted to participate fully in the Mass. And to do so, I needed to come into full communion with the Church. So last fall, I joined RCIA, the Rite of Christian Initiation of Adults. You attend each Monday night from fall to Easter, and I thought as I joined, I know the Bible. I've taught the Bible. What am I going to hear at RCIA that I don't know already? I asked myself this with very little humility. Well, I came to find out that RCIA is a treasure and a blessing, and every week I learned something that I did not already know. And the staff of RCIA is incredible, kind, and knowledgeable. John, Cynthia, Mai, Rebecca, Patty, Judy. The second thing that drew me even closer to the church is this. The RCI staff assigned a mentor to me as part of the program. This woman walked alongside me from fall to spring. She is gentle of spirit, affirming, available. And she was a friend in a sea of nearly all strangers. Her face will always be the face of the church to me. Her name is also Mary. I'll close with one last thought. This is from Dante's Divine Comedy. He says at the beginning, "Midway upon our life's journey, I went astray from the straight road and found myself alone in a dark wood." And who, in the Divine Comedy, who hears Dante in his distress? Mary hears him. And what does Mary do when she hears Dante's distress? She sends a person to him, a person like you or me. He could not walk Dante all the way through the gates of heaven, but he could point the way and walk alongside him for a while. Perhaps you feel like Dante, alone in a dark wood. RCIA is a place to start, and you will be greeted with open arms. Or perhaps, like the person that Mary sent, you can point the way for someone. Invite them to Easter Vigil, or walk alongside them for a while, as Mary did for me.